Welcome to the critique. Today we're looking at a monologue script called You're in the In-Between. It's all about that messy, uncomfortable void when you shed an old identity.
It's a topic that really hits home, and you can tell the raw material here, it's coming from a place of real insight. But we need to sharpen the tools, you know?
Sharpen the tools so that insight actually cuts through. Exactly. Let's jump straight in.
Please.
The first major hurdle for me is that the script suffers from what I'd call metaphor crowding.
Oh, immediately. That whiplash.
Right?
You start with this incredibly visceral, strong image. A caterpillar dissolving into biological soup. It's great, it's gross, it works, it anchors you.
It does. But then what happens?
Then, like 3 lines later, we're suddenly tuning a radio frequency. And before I can even get my head around that, we're learning to breathe underwater.
And then we're actors in a costume.
It's just too much.
It is. And the weakness here, the specific problem, is the cognitive load. You're trying to paint a picture in the listener's mind, but you keep erasing it.
Right, I'm trying to visualize a chrysalis. Then I have to wipe that clean for a radio dial. Then wipe it again for an ocean. It's work.
It's work, and it prevents any one of those powerful images from actually landing with its full impact.
It just completely disrupts the immersion. Instead of feeling the emotion, I'm busy trying to figure out if I'm a bug, a radio, or a diver.
Exactly. So the suggestion here is pretty straightforward. Select one primary, let's call it a governing metaphor, to anchor the whole piece.
Okay, so pick one and stick with it.
You can have little flourishes, but they have to serve that main image, or at the very least group them so they don't crash into each other.
Let's get concrete. I think the biological angle, the caterpillar, the soup, that's the strongest part of the whole script.
I agree. So if the author anchors on that, how do we fix the other section?
Good question.
You have to rewrite the other images to match. So, for example, the part about friends leaving. Right now it says they fade or you're on a different frequency.
That's radio talk.
Total radio talk. So if we're doing the biological thing, option A, we frame that separation as the physical shedding of the chrysalis shell.
Oh, I like that.
It protected you, but now it's restricting you. When friends fall away, it's not a frequency mismatch, it's a molting process. It's not personal, it's just biology.
I actually love that. It makes the loss feel inevitable.
Natural. It takes the blame out of it.
It does. But let's be fair. What if the author really, really loves that frequency idea?
Okay, option B.
Then they have to commit. All the way. The emptiness isn't soup. It's static, white noise between stations. The old life isn't a costume you take off. It's a broadcast you just can't pick up anymore.
So the actionable edit is...
Look at that whole transition section, the frequency bit and the breathing underwater bit.
Right.
Pick one visual language and rewrite the other to match it.
Exactly. If you're a radio, you can't drown. If you're a caterpillar, you don't have a volume dial. Consistency builds trust.
That makes total sense. And once we stabilize the imagery, we can look at the actual journey. I felt the pacing was a little...
Repetitive?
Yeah, repetitive.
That brings us right to our second critique. The narrative arc tends to circle back to that feeling of emptiness and loss over and over without really escalating the stakes. It's a loop, not a spiral.
A loop, that's the perfect word. We hear the job feels wrong at the beginning, then the friends feel hollow in the middle. Then the whole routine feels empty near the end. We're just revisiting the same crime scene.
Exactly. And the listener gets it early on. We understand the pain of the in-between, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. We don't need to be reminded at minute 4 that it feels bad. It just kills the momentum.
So how do you break the loop? What's the suggestion?
We restructure it. A clear, linear progression. Think of it like this: the symptom, then the cause, then the trap, and finally, the solution.
I like that. It's a framework. So the symptom is all that discomfort we were just talking about.
Yes, and the concrete edit is to consolidate all those symptoms. Group, the staring at the ceiling, the job feels like theater, all of it right into the first 20%.
Get the diagnosis out of the way.
Get it out of the way so we can start the treatment. Don't bring up the friends fading away again later unless you have a new resolution for it.
Okay, so symptom, then cause. The cause would be the transformation itself, the caterpillar soup, or the radio static.
Exactly, and that leads to a huge opportunity with the trap. There's a section in the script, you probably noticed it, about forcing enthusiasm for hobbies.
Oh, I highlighted that too. The idea that we panic and try to force ourselves to love the things we used to, just to feel normal.
It's so powerful, but right now it feels a little late in the script. The suggestion is to move that section up right after you explain the cause.
Why there specifically?
because it creates a perfect logical flow. Biology happens, that's the cause. Then, humans resist that biology by forcing old hobbies. That's the trap.
And suffering ensues because of the resistance?
Right. And then acceptance releases the tension. That's the solution. It becomes a story. Biology, resistance, suffering. It's a cause and effect chain, not just a list of feelings.
That's so much better. It raises the stakes because you see the character actively fighting the process and failing.
Which makes the final surrender so much more satisfying.
Okay, speaking of satisfying, I want to talk about the language itself. We've cleaned up the metaphors and the structure, but some of the actual sentences still feel a bit floaty.
Floaty is a great word for it, and that's our third critique. Grounding these abstract concepts in sensory details. The emotional landscape is mapped out, but it's missing tactile reality.
Yeah, you see phrases like pure frequency match or your soul recognizes this dissolution. They sound poetic, but what am I supposed to hold on to?
And the weakness there is that it can start to sound like generic self-help platitudes. The writers who listen to this want their work to be robust, and robustness requires evidence, specifics.
I think writers do that because they want to be universal. They think if they say hobbies, it applies to everyone. But if they say knitting, they alienate the basketball players.
It's a classic trap. But the paradox is the more specific you are, the more universal it feels. I can map my own specifics onto your specifics. So we need to show, don't tell.
All right, let's workshop it. This script says hobbies that no longer spark joy. How do we fix that?
Don't just say hob, get specific. The sourdough starter that's gone moldy because you can't bring yourself to feed it. Or the half-finished woodworking project gathering dust in the garage.
I can smell that sourdough. It's immediate. You feel that sense of something that was once alive and exciting becoming a chore.
It conveys the loss of energy without ever using the word energy. Let's do another one. The social disconnect. It says, conversations feel like wading through mud.
Which, as we said, is a metaphor clash, but it's also just a bit cliche.
It is. Instead, describe the physical sensation. Describe sitting at a dinner party, nodding at a joke you didn't hear, checking your watch under the table.
Oh, checking your watch under the table? That is such a vivid image of wanting to be literally anywhere else.
It grounds the spiritual crisis in the gritty reality of a Tuesday night.
Okay, what about the opening? Staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. That seems pretty specific.
It's a good start, but we can give it texture. Is it the pattern in the stucco? Is it the blue light from the street lamp making stripes through the blinds? Give the emptiness a physical quality. If I can see the ceiling, I can feel the insomnia.
It really does change the tone from a lecture to a scene.
And scenes are what people remember. Okay, let's shift to the internal logic. There's this conflict set up between the brain and the soul.
Yeah, a battle. The brain is the bad guy trying to keep you small, and the soul is the hero trying to break free.
And this brings us to our fourth critique. The nuance in that brain versus soul argument is a bit lacking. The script creates this binary antagonism, where the brain is just the obstacle.
It really does. It's like the script is telling me my brain is stupid and I should ignore it.
And the weakness there is that it invalidates the listener's very real, very biological anxiety. The brain is functioning correctly based on its evolutionary program. If you tell someone their survival instinct is bad, you just create shame.
So what's the fix? How do we keep the point about overriding fear without just bashing the brain?
We introduce a compassionate logic lens. Acknowledge the brain's duty to keep you safe from the unknown, and then gently explain why that mechanism is a mismatch for psychological growth.
So instead of fighting the brain, we're thanking it?
Precisely. Let's try a concrete tweak. You add a line like, your brain isn't trying to sabotage you, it's looking for a tiger in the bushes. It's trying to keep you alive. Thank it for its service, but tell it there is no tiger.
I love that. Looking for a tiger in the bushes. It creates instant empathy for your own anxiety. It's not that I'm broken, it's that my software is ancient.
Right. It changes the whole dynamic from fighting yourself to parenting yourself. And this really helps that trap section we talked about. When people scramble to fill the void, it's not just panic.
It's a logical response to a lack of data. The brain hates a vacuum.
Exactly. If you say, you're scrambling because you're weak, the listener shuts down. But if you say, you're scrambling because your brain interprets silence as danger, the listener feels seen. You validate the struggle before you correct the behavior.
That is such a crucial distinction. It makes the advice actionable because I'm not fighting a moral failing. I'm just adjusting a biological setting.
It makes the argument persuasive, not accusatory. Which brings me to the very end of the script. The last line is, start trusting what's arriving.
It's a nice sentiment. A little soft, maybe?
A little soft. And if we're applying all these other edits, the linear structure, the sensory details, the conclusion needs to pull those threads tight.
So if we use the moldy sourdough example earlier, the end should be something about cleaning off the counter.
Yes. Or if we stuck with the caterpillar metaphor, the ending shouldn't just be trust what's arriving, it should be trust the wing. You have to close the loops you open.
That makes a lot of sense. So, okay, let's recap everything so the listener has a clear checklist.
Let's do it. First, streamline metaphors. This is the big one. Choose one dominant visual system, biology, radio, whatever, and anchor the whole piece in it.
Second, linear structure. Move from symptom to cause to trap to solution. Don't circle back. Keep the story moving forward and escalate the stakes.
Third, sensory specifics. Get gritty. Replace abstract terms like alignment with the moldy sourdough or the dinner party watch check. Make it real.
And finally, compassionate logic. Validate the brain's fear response before you dismantle it. It's a survival tool, not an enemy. Thank it for looking for tigers.
We would honestly love to see where you take this. The insight here is profound. The raw honesty is there. With these edits, it won't just be a monologue people listen to. It'll be a tool they can actually use.
I am genuinely excited to read the next draft.
Apply the feedback, tighten the bolts, and send it back to us. Until next time, keep refining. This has been The Critique.